it's good to see everybody. My name is Terry Taylor. I'm managing editor of Growing in Grace Children's Music Curriculum. I'm also the bivocational minister of music at Tusculum Hills Baptist Church in Nashville, where I also direct the Children's Freedom Choir. It's a series of choirs that reaches out to the refugee immigrant community in Nashville. So I'm glad to have you with us today, and I'm grateful for Baylor and the Alleluia Conference for having this intensive day of training in children's music. It's been quite a year for us in the children's choir world, and to see our music ministries curtailed because of the pandemic, but we're hopeful that we can start to reemerge in a new and better and wonderful way as we move forward. And certainly this conference is a help in that. And today I'm going to share some information. This session, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let you see the PowerPoint and talk about this just for a minute. Hope everybody can see a big frog with big bug eyes looking at you. Ideas and how-to instructions for using presentation software and manipulatives, props in the music classroom. So this is going to be partly based on my practice for quite a number of years with particularly younger children of projecting their notation on the wall using presentation software. I almost exclusively use PowerPoint, and I have a Mac, and I project notation on the wall for the children to follow and then manipulate that in different ways, and project any number of things on the wall to help them learn, to make learning fun and that sort of thing. With younger children, holding their music, I never know how they're tracking or that sort of thing. So if I project a melody line, which I can do, I can take our curriculum, the student page, which is just the lead sheet, it's the melody with the lyric, and I can project that on the wall and we can sing it. I can point out with my little laser pointer where treble intervals are, things to look for, and I can give a child a pointer and have them track as the rest of the group sings, track the words, and they're learning to track and that sort of thing. I can kind of keep up. Their heads are up. I can keep up with how they're doing that way and play memorization games. So I'm going to go through some of that, and some of it will be maybe a little tedious, particularly if you're aware of how PowerPoint works, but I've got a couple of little bit demonstrations, kind of how-to things on how I do and how I did certain things. So I hope this is helpful to you. You see my email address down there at the bottom, tdtaylormusic@gmail.com. And if you have any particular questions about how I did something, or you would like something that I did, just let me know, and I'll do everything I can to get it to you or help you, discover what you want to do and get that resource to you. Obviously, I'm not able to do much chatting back because I'm doing the presentation. I haven't got the opportunity, since this is live, I haven't got the opportunity to respond to those chats until maybe after the session. I'm here in my office in Franklin, just south of Nashville, in my Growing in Grace office. And it's great to be connected with you all over, wherever you are. So I want to start out with, there you can see a notation like I might project it on the wall for the kids. And we would sing it. I might have one of them take a rhythm stick and track the words as we go. But I want you to listen to a couple of pages of this song. This is in our fall elementary Keep On Singing Short Stories, Tall Truths curriculum.
Who will be a witness for my Lord? Who will be a witness for my Lord? Who down the road to Jericho, he met some robbers who stole his load and left him lying on the road. Did the priest stop to help him? No, Lord. Did the Levite help him? No, Lord. Did anybody help him? Just one man, and he was the hated Samaritan. He was a witness.
Okay, and you notice that I imported the MP3 audio right up here, and I set it where I could click on it. Sometimes you can set it where it'll start automatically when you go to that slide. I typically set it on click because I may want to talk about it before I start using the audio. And of course, hopefully I've got an accompanist there and piano, and we can work with it that way, but it's not always the case. So I've got the MP3 right there. In this case, it's the demo. And then here's this page. Now here is what I might do. I would have the children sing it. And do let me say, I've crammed 6 staves on this. Normally I only put 4, but I crammed 6 onto this slide because I'm using it. This is a memorization game. And if we were just learning the music, I probably would not have this many staves on there. But we'll sing it just like this. And then I'm going to have these images dissolve in and cover up part of the words. And we're going to sing it again with some of the words missing. And then I'm going to press it again, and more of the words are going to disappear. We're going to sing it again, and then sing it again with more. And I'll keep on till all the words are covered up. So I want to give you a quick kind of tutorial on how I did this. And the first thing is, you see right here, I imported the PDF of the student score. It happens to be 2-part, but I just want to work with the unison part. So I click on it, and then I crop it. And crop the part I've already done the first 5 lines. I'm going to crop this, and then I'm just going to move it down. Then I'm ready to go. Then the next thing, I'm going to enlarge it a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import those oval images. So I'm going to go up here to picture, and I have a picture in my file, and I'm going to click on that, and it's going to go to that folder, and there's the oval image. And I'm going to go down to insert. It's too big, so I'm going to size it down. And then I'm going to use my option drag, and I'm going to make copies of it, put them where I want to put them. Usually I'm kind of mindful of where I cover up the first ones so the rhyming scheme can help with the memorization. And then I'm going to group these 4 together. And I'm going to go up to group, and I'm going to make them function like one image so that all 4 come in at one time. Then I'm going to go up to animation and just dissolve in. And those 4 are going to dissolve in at one time. And then I'm going to make 3 more, copy 3 more, and then I'm going to group them into a group. Sometimes my tool runs away from me. I had to go back to the home and get my group feature back. So now these 3 are grouped together. Then I'm going to have them dissolve in, and then I'm going to copy 3 more using that option drag. I'm going to group these 3 together. You see I've selected them. I'm going to go up to group, and then animation on those 3, dissolve in. And then as it moves, as I start it, say I'll play that, and then we sing the song just like I showed you earlier. These come in as we go. So that's a quick tutorial. And I do want to say, there are different versions of PowerPoint, and some of you in Macs who use Macintoshes may use Keystone for your presentation software. So things might be different, but it's the same kind of idea. Now, you may get down the road here, and you've already, projected the music, they've learned the song, you just want to concentrate on the lyric. So you type the lyric in, and here's another way that you can work on memorization is you just go to your shapes and you make a bunch of rectangles. There's one. Then I'm going to go to the properties. I don't want a line on it. And you see I've gone over here to the color. You can see where my arrow is. And I'm going to go down here to more colors and click on the eyedropper tool. And then I'm going to make the rectangle the exact same color as the background. Okay. And then I'm just going to keep copying that rectangle and kind of resizing it and moving it over different words. So I'm resizing that, and I'm copying and dragging, using my option key, and I'm just covering and resizing words, and just keep doing that. It looks a little bit tedious, but it actually goes by pretty quickly, and you can watch National Geographic Channel and sit there and just have some fun. This is kind of like therapy for me. It's just a relaxing thing for me to do, actually. So now I've covered up these different words, and now I'm just clicking on you noticed I was just clicking on the dissolve in one at a time. I did those in sequence. So I keep on, so you can see I keep on dissolve in, dissolve in, dissolve in until I get down to the end. Now I'm going to play from current slide, and you see as we sing it, different words disappear. So here's the way it would look. So I'm clicking my key, and I might press it 4 times and make 4 words go away. Then we're going to sing it. Then I'm going to press 4 more, and the kids are going, ooh, let's try it again. Then we sing it. I'm going to make 4 more go away. Can you sing it? I'll make 4 more go away. And then we sing it again. Turns it into a game, into a challenge, and I'll keep making like 4 letters go away until finally I make them all go away and we sing it. And we've turned memorization into a game. Here is another example. I did this song with younger children once upon a time. And here is an example where I would have the words pretty big on the page, and we would track it and sing it and that sort of thing. And then when it comes time to memorize it, because it's a Psalm 100, and this line down here says, we are the sheep of his pasture, then I want to cover these words up, but I want to make it fun for the kids. What art might I use to cover the words up that'll make it fun for the kids and stick with the theme of the song? We are the sheep of his pasture. What do you think? So I'm going to cover some words up, and here come the sheep. And there are buttons that you click on where the sheep bounce in, like they did, but come in on a path. And the kids love it, and then we sing it, and then I'll have more sheep come in, and we'll sing it again. And it makes memorizing a song a lot of fun. Here is an example of where this is a memory visual. Used to, early in my curriculum days, we'd call this a rebus, but we're calling it kind of a memory visual now. And we use a combination, as you can see, of images and words to help children memorize the song. So the whole world was lost in the darkness of sin. Like sunshine at noonday, his glory shone in. That's the lyric here. The light of the world is Jesus. So I've taken, in the same way that I took those little rectangles a while ago on covered words, I've just taken circles, and we'll sing it with the choir just like this. And then I'm going to press it again, and I just made circles and colored them kind of the same color as the background. We'll sing it again. And then I'll press it another couple of times. You can put these circles in random anywhere you want to cover this up. And we'll sing it again. And then we'll continue singing it, covering the images up until they have memorized the phrase. It makes it fun. Here is the second chorus. The angels appeared to the shepherds at night with glorious news of a heavenly light. So we'll sing it. I'll make some images go away. Sing it again. More images go away. And continue that way with us singing and making images go away until, they're singing from memory. And it's a fun thing. And I did want to show you a little bit of how I did that, because say this shape right here on news is irregular. And how do you block that out, particularly since it's so close to heavenly? So I just went up here to the shapes tool, and I went down to, let me see, I went too far. Let me show you exactly what I did. If I can get to I went to this guy right here and clicked on that. And then I went down and started clicking little irregular points there until I had it completely circled. And then I went to the format shape. It's right down there. And I didn't want a line around it, so I clicked no line. And then I went down to more colors again, brought that palette up, and then clicked on the eyedropper tool. You see that little guy right there, the eyedropper tool, and clicked to make this purple thing the same color as the background, and then clicked OK. And there it covered it up. And that's exactly how I did that. We can also take, this is a kid page from elementary, Righteous Rhythms. And occasionally I will take a kid page and turn it into an activity that the whole group can do and, solve it, perform it, solve the puzzle on the wall. So what I actually did was created it where the rhythms would fit in, and we would chant each of these together. And then we might chant them all in a row. You might say, okay, let's find the patterns that are similar or the exact patterns. How many are ta-ti-ti? Find them. How many are ta-ta? There's one pattern here that is unlike any of the rest of them. Help them find love your neighbor. All the different things that you can do with that musically. And of course, you can also talk about what these different things mean in our spiritual life and how it affects our behavior toward one another. I want to give you a quick tutorial on how I created that. And of course, the first thing I did was import the page. Now, when you download the curriculum, you get all these PDFs, and you can import them in and manipulate them in so many ways. Sometimes I will take the PDF and convert it to a JPEG format because sometimes Mac and PowerPoint don't get along and it turns black. It hadn't happened to me in a long time, but sometimes I operate and turn it into a JPEG. Just wanted to mention that in case something goes kind of south on you. So I've made a copy. So the first thing I want to do is I need my two notes, my quarter note and my eighth note. So I'm going to crop it. There's the crop tool. You can hit Command C. And I'm going to crop everything out from that entire page except the quarter note. You may have a quarter note somewhere you want to just import in. It was just easier for me just to do it this way. And now I'm going to recrop that whole big page and just crop it down to those to the eighth note pair. And I'm going to put them over there. Now I have my notation, and now I'm going to start filling it in. And the first thing I'm going to do is the ta-ti-ti. I'm going to find all the answers where the words are ta-ti-ti. I'm going to kind of position it. I'm going to select both of them after I get them positioned just right. I'm going to go up and group it. I have to go over to my home tool under arrange and get the group. Then I'm just going to click and drag that. I'm not going to redo that. I'm going to drag it into every little rectangle that has that matching rhythm. Be gentle. I understand. I know this is a little bit tedious, particularly if you know how to do this already. Now I'm going to do the quarter notes, the be kind. Let me speed this up a little bit. So now I've got the quarter notes in, and then I drug down to the two eighth note pairs, and I'm going to group them. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to delete those two little art things so they won't show up. And then I'm just going to go up to animation here and bring them in one at a time. Animate them where when I press the arrow, each one of these will come in one at a time. And then, of course, I think that's the last one. And then you go up to, I'm going to play from the current slide, and you can see click, 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 each one of them come in. And that was just this type of animation and to make this kid page interactive. Of course, another thing is just make multiple copies of the kid page like we designed it and distribute it. But this way you can turn it into an activity that's more interactive and use it in a large group. Another thing that I've been doing for years on two-part, and I will say back in the day when like I had the Young Musician magazine from the children's music series at Lifeway, I would bring, my stack of 30 or 40 magazines home and watch TV and take my yellow highlighter, my green highlighter, or yellow, whatever I was using. And I would go through every copy of that music and mark the high part and the low part so kids could distinguish them. And that's a practice I learned from Martha Kirkland. She always did that, and I was inspired, to do that because she did it and made it easier for the kids to learn. And so this is something you can do very easily. You import the music in, and then you just create these rectangles. And of course, I never wanted to color outside the lines. I was pretty exacting, but it's real easy. It kind of locks into place. And then you can put those colored backgrounds, highlight your music in that way. I've been doing that for a long time. Another project that's pretty interesting to do is in a case like this kit page that is one of those more detailed coloring pages. Sometimes I will put newsprint on the wall, and that's really big, and project it, and then it's so big that 3 or 4 kids can be coloring on it, different parts of it at the same time. And they love to do that, and just project that on the wall, let the kids, the early arrivers, be working on that and turn it into a big art project that you want to do. This is a series of singing skills posters, visuals that came out when we've had several of them over the years. This is one of my favorites. And I've had these on the wall over the years, and I say, okay, children, watch the director. And then I turned it into an interactive game. And I show these series of singing skills posters, and I ask the children to guess what performance skill this particular animal is teaching. And all of a sudden it became an exciting, engaging, two-way kind of activity rather than me just telling them or showing them what they should be doing. So this one, you can probably guess, is watch the director. Of course, all I did here was took a white rectangle and blocked out those words. And then when I got ready to show it, I clicked, the animation, the key, and the block disappeared. It exited, revealing the words that were there all along. This one is arch the phrase. Anybody want to guess? Breathe deeply. Here again, the rectangle, I used the color tool to make the color of the rectangle that was hiding the letters the exact color of the background. And I used that little eyedropper tool to do that. Pleasant expression. And then listen carefully and open your mouth. This reminds me of the little prairie dog in that cartoon that goes, Alan, Alan. He's cute. This is a lovely picture. This is concentrate. Some of these are not easy, but you can always talk about them. Of course, this is stand tall. And the kids really do enjoy the interactivity and guessing what they are. Now I want us to move kind of into more of some manipulatives. And this is a racquetball activity. I happen to have a 2-color racquetball. I got this at Chaco Springs last week or the week before last. But this is a bouncing game, and it goes with Be Thou My Vision. Let's listen to this video. I made it a while back. Be Thou My Vision is a wonderful hymn for children to know and experience. In this activity, children keep the steady beat by bouncing a racquetball. The first tempo is at 72. They bounce the ball down, catch it, take it to the right, and then up, and then down. Stanza 2 is at 84 beats per minute, and stanza 3 is at 96 beats per minute. I'll give you a little sample of how this works. Now it goes faster. This is the tempo of the second stanza. And then here's the tempo of the third stanza. And you see how that works. And the lyrics are on here too. So children can sing along. You can have a child or however many children you like sing, and another group or another child bounce the ball and then swap back and forth so they get to keep the steady beat and also sing. Be Thou My Vision. And the challenge of this is to find a 3/4 song that's slow enough, that it's not out of control, because some of the 3/4 songs, is like the dotted half note at 56, and that's just too fast to do it. Be Thou My Vision is one, and you'll find them occasionally, but not as often as you might think. But I will tell you that my kids love to get the racquetballs out and do that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 thing. And it's almost hypnotic when they get quiet and really focused on it. You have to be able to embrace the chaos a little bit, because they're going to hit their foot and go rolling across the room, and you just tell them, go get it and get, pick back up where you left off. And if you really want to get ambitious, you could have 2 people bounce the ball back and forth to each other at the same time. That can be done. And this is based really on Dalcroze eurythmics, where children are learning how to feel the space between the beats. And it's a really wonderful kind of system to develop that kind of musicianship and to feel that. And so I highly recommend it. There's the racquetball. I hope you can see this. This is called the super high bounce ball. I got this from Karen Goslin at the Children's Choir Summit a couple of years ago. It's really wonderful. It's larger and a little bit easier to handle, but I do love the racquetballs too. If you want a copy of this, email me. I didn't upload it, but if you want, just email me and I will send you the video of these 3 stanzas, or it could be a PowerPoint. I can't remember which it is. This is just the how-to part of it, and the children can keep the beat with that. Or any anthem you're doing that's of the right tempo in 3/4 really does work well on that. Also, a thing I learned recently is with beach balls, and I thought I would throw this at you and see what you thought about it. And it's keeping the steady beat with the beach ball. And so I made a little video here to go with. Let me just do that. Let me just play it, and then we'll talk about it.
Jesus, Jesus, oh, what a wonderful time. Jesus, Jesus, so holy, big and love. New life, new hope, that child will bring. Listen, listen to the angels sing. Glory, glory, glory from the heavens ring.
Okay. The interesting thing is, I used a larger beach ball initially, and then I had a smaller one. I switched to a smaller one, so you could use either one. And one thing, when I made this video, I was concerned the music would be so loud that you wouldn't be able to hear the beat, when I was tapping it. But let me say, probably what I would do if you did it with children is to ask you to keep their wrist anchored to the ball, where the wrist was always touching, and just the palm and the fingers, because that's easier to control the beat than doing this back and forth. So let me just recommend that. And it's the same thing applies when children are like using their foot, like stomp. Sometimes if the whole foot comes off the floor and there's stomp, and it can get out of control. A lot of times I tell children to anchor their heel like it's, hinged to the floor, where this is the heel right here, and here are the toes that are tapping, and the children can maintain the sense of beat and the sense of control better. Another manipulative that is really awesome are tennis balls. And here's one that where you just have cut a slit in it and you use it to illustrate opening your mouth. And this idea has been around for years. I just thought I would show that to you just in case. And then a newer development that came up with a few years ago are putting BBs in the balls. And what I do is cut a little slit in it, and in the tennis ball at the seam, at the rubber seam, and I put force a funnel in there and put it like 30 or 40 BBs in it, and then seal it up with super glue. And it makes really for a wonderful kind of shaker. I call it a tennis shaker, and many of you probably have already seen these and made them. But it's tactile and soft. It's easy to handle, and you can do with preschoolers, the park and play. What I do mostly with younger and older is the back and forth to cross the midline to keep steady beat. And we do know that crossing that midline, right to left and back and forth, is a really good thing to do. So they've got a lot. If you drop them, they don't roll. They just kind of stay put. The other thing I love about them is you can have 40 children playing these at the same time, and it just sounds like a gentle rain. You know, it's not loud and raucous, and it can be quite musical. So you can keep steady beat, park and play, like I said, for preschool, or you can play rhythms like half, half, ta, 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 ta. I try to get kids when they're doing half note to keep the ball in motion in a sideways figure eight pattern. And we do know children that have some learning disabilities or challenges. A lot of times they make sideways lazy eights on the board to help stimulate the corsum callosum. This is children that maybe didn't crawl when they were little and their corpus callosum didn't get stimulated the way it should have, because both eyes are connected with both sides of the brain, and so the midline, the corpus callosum, needs to be well developed for children to track when they read, and this sideways lazy eight is one of the therapies for them. So this is always good to do to quarter note, and then you can do it to half note. And so the tennis ball is really a wonderful thing. We also know that baseball coaches, use this just to develop coordination in the kids. And this is really where I came up with the idea to use these to try to help keep boys engaged in choir. And I did some activities, and it didn't sound as fun as I wanted it. And then when I put BBs in it, it made it better. So that's the tennis ball. And I've actually got an activity here that's coming out in the spring. Keep on Singing, Short Stories, Tall Truths, spring. Uses Children's March. Percy Granger, I believe.
Children's March rhythms. Tap and toss a tennis ball to the rhythms as indicated. For tap, hold the ball in the palm of your hand and tap your knee, the floor, or a hard surface. For toss the ball back and forth between your right and left hands in a figure eight shape. Are you ready? Here we go.
I love that music, and just makes it great. I'll tell you, I really do like the fact that the rhythms match the music, and it makes it easier for kids to feel what the rhythms are as they play along. So this is coming out as an activity in spring. And other manipulatives, puppets. I saw this puppet at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to get my hands on it. This little raccoon pops out of the trash can. It's the cutest thing ever. And they're all, you can just use your imagination for the things that you can teach using puppets, particularly younger children in preschool. The four voices, and the character could open the mouth and illustrate what those are. Dynamics, where you could take the paws, and the wider they spread them, the louder the kids get, and then back. And then, of course, by moving their arms or head or anything up and down for vocal exploration and different sounds. So puppets are wonderful, and I'm going to get my hands on this one pretty soon. I have a Camel back at church, and I bought it and off online, and unfortunately my big old hand's not fitting in the head very well. It won't get past the neck. I'm going to have to work on that and do a little surgery on it. Another thing I've been using, and you may have been using for years, is a Slinky, and unfortunately I cannot find my Slinky, and there's not one in Nashville. I don't think. I've been to most of the places in Nashville, but to try to find one, I'll have to order it. But I use a Slinky just like this to show energy, and hold it in both hands and move it back and forth where it's an arch, just like you see in that image, to explain to the children that's the type of energy I want. And then I turn it upside down and the Slinky sags. And I say, this is not energy. The tone is sagging. You invert it again and show the energy that you want in the tone. And also you can use it for vocal expiration by pulling it up and down. And you can also steady beat back and forth this way. So Slinky is a fun thing to use. I ran across this looking for a Slinky. This dog, it's from Toy Story, and I apologize for not knowing his name, and y'all are probably all screaming it to me right now. But I've always, the diphthong dog, where the dachshund, is the primary vowel is the long length of the body of the dog, and then the tail is the glide or the vanish, like night at the very end, or way, and the E comes at the end. So this is a great way to teach that. And you could even stretch the dog out as the vowel extends, and then flip the tail there when the little glide is supposed to happen. Y'all been using chenille stems for vocal expiration. I know with let the children bend them, and then sing them and have the group sing them, whether it's up and down like this or curves, waves. And you can also use them for notation. I've seen that done. It also works. We have done this under a black light, where the children take these white, chenille stems. I've called them pipe cleaners all my life, but chenille stems, and they form different rhythms, and then they glow under the black light and they perform them. That's fun to do. Now, these are whirling tubes, and my friend Carol and I made this video yesterday, and let's watch it.
These are whirling tubes. You can get them at most any toy store, and they're fun just to twirl around. Get different pitches. I'm working up an offertory right now, but these are really good if you're working with uncertain singers, children that are learning to match pitch. So what I ask the child to do, and I want to ask my friend Carol here to do, is to put this part to her mouth instead of the part to her ear. And it really intensifies the sound, so you want to sing on the ooh very softly. So sing it, Carol. You see how loud that sounds in your ear, so you want to be very careful. But what I do with children is I will take this in, and I will sing very lightly in their ear, and then they sing in their other ear the same pitch. Let's try that. And it's that simple. And when you're working with a child and you give them something in their hand, it kind of takes the pressure off them and makes them less self-conscious, makes it more entertaining. So this is a really good way to use these whirling tubes to play a pitch match game with children. Thanks, Carol.
Okay, and then we also have posters. You need to keep I'm saying if you had preschoolers or even younger children, it would be great for you to have these visuals in your room. We have them regularly in our curriculum in different forms. The calling voice, or the shouting, or the outdoor voice. We've used different terms for that. Speaking voice, singing voice, and whispering voice. And you can show these when children are singing, point to it as you need to for them to particularly distinguish between the singing voice and the speaking voice, which it takes a while for some of them to get. And I love these, the dog and cat, this has been one of my favorite posters for the four voices. And of course, I would recommend that everybody, keep some sort of vowel charts up on your wall to refer to them for certain vowels and things like that to children. So you can just point when a vowel's coming up, you can just walk over and point to it right quick to remind them. And in vocalises, point to them. E, ah, o, oo, and I usually have them up in that order that goes from closed to open to ah, and then back to the closed oo. And I like these a lot because we've never used them with instruments before. Keyboard, cello, harp, trombone, and bassoon, and we underlined the vowels that were to be emphasized in these particular ones. This is also a major scale. It's got the body scale that I talked about at length in my previous session that I use a lot with the kids. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We got the body scale and started using it when we learned about it from high scope research and got permission to use it. And one thing you can do as the kids get familiar with it, you can sing do, and then the children sing re, and then you sing mi, and the children sing fa. All kinds of different games that you can play. And I just do echo, so, mi, and have the children sing that back and just keep mixing up patterns that way with the body scale. I use body scale a lot with younger. I've transitioned to the Kerwin hand signs more with older children, but the body scale is larger motions, which are good for children, and the hand comes back in contact with the body, which sends a stronger signal to the brain in association with the pitch than the hands being away. And I've had discussions with people about which is best, the body scale or the Kerwin hand signs, and I actually had a lady with high certification in Kodai that said they discovered that the positioning of the hands on the body is actually as or more important than the actual position of the hand, just the up and down. Very interesting at that point. But we know that most kids 12 and under are kinesthetic learners. And anytime you're having a challenge with an interval or a pitch or something that's not working well for you, attach body movement with it, or some kind of manipulative or something to kind of get over that little hump right there, but get their body moving with it. I'm going to close out of this PowerPoint and stop sharing my screen. See if that worked. All right, maybe it did. And 2 or 3 things. These are from my colleague Carol. They're tubaloos, and it's just a little version, not unlike what we did with whirling tube, where you can hold these up to your ear, and the children can hear themselves. It intensifies the sound, and they can hear themselves singing. I use a Hoberman sphere. You can use that for vocal exploration, up and down. You can use it for dynamics, or I use it a lot to teach low breathing and expanding around the waist. So this is good to use. I know you probably heard of Carson DeLosa charts. One of my favorite Carson DeLosa charts is the Crayola. And I like this. Learned about this from my friend Susan Ernest in Georgia. But this Crayola chart, Carson DeLosa chart, pocket chart is another word for it, divides into 4 beats, and that way the colors, it helps distinguish between the beats. And you can put all kinds of things in here. Here I have a pentatonic boom whacker accompaniment, and a different child can play each line, and it creates a boom whacker accompaniment, and you can sing pentatonic songs with it. So they're reading rhythms, and you can take these out. these hearts out and replace them with notation. It's a lot of fun. There are all kinds of these pocket charts, and they're great to use. Also, speaking of boom whackers, I keep these around. These are these squishy ponytail holders in different colors. And when I'm doing a boom whacker activity and I want a C chord, then I'm going to put the same color ponytail holders on the C chord. And then wherever I want the C chord to play, I'm going to color code it green. Okay. Or at least some color. And then, like, I'll take, here is the, that's wrong. Here's the F chord. And I believe let's see. Yes, I got in a hurry and did the F chord wrong. It should be, some basic music theory going on here. The C chord is there. We'll do that much. So you will have colors for the C chord and, of course, the G chord. Okay, and I've got them all messed up here. I don't know how I did that. I was just in a hurry. There's the G chord. Okay, you'll have some dissonance if you're not careful. But anyway, you color code them that way, and it sure does make it a lot of fun. They don't go by the boom whacker color, but by the color of the squishy hairband, as long as you've gotten the right ones on. This little guy is my clam, and I use him sometimes when I go, Lord, and the D is pitched, so the mouth has to come back open. I need to use this with my adult choir. Lord, and let the mouth come back open rather than Lord, like that. So he can teach a lot. You can also use him for vocal exploration or cutoffs, things like that. Really, that people that are in children's music, when they go to like the dollar store, they don't, or Walmart or somewhere, they shop differently than everybody else because they're always looking for something they can use to make teaching music interesting. And I hope that these things that we've talked about today might help you in some way. And you have my email address on the handout. I left you room on that handout to write some notes. And if you have any questions, please be in touch with me. It has been a delight to have been with you today, and God's blessings on your music ministry with children. You're changing the world. God bless you.